Hello, welcome to Controller Monkeys. Tonight we're going to go over a review of Elder Scrolls Online Beta.
And it's not really as much of a review as it is kind of like a first impressions, because it's kind of hard to give a review about a game that's not finished and not, for retail yet.
And kind of bugged. Because let's face it, beta.
Trust me, we'll be getting to that. Throughout, our first impressions video, we're going to be we're going to be comparing ESO a lot to Warcraft. And, like it or not, Warcraft is pretty much the golden standard of MMOs. Back in the day, today...
It's crap.
Yeah.
Never hated pandas so much in my life. Well, there was another time I was drunk in the park. Alright.
It's going to be one of those videos, isn't it?
Yep.
Goody. I'm going to try my best to kind of intersperse you looking at our faces with actual gameplay footage. Because I've recorded a little bit of the game, mostly just like the beginning segments. Later on, I just wanted to actually get like a feel for the game, and I didn't want to worry about like audio desync and recording and all that jazz.
Me, I just played the game.
Yeah. So, first off, let's talk about what did you think of like when Elder Scrolls Online was first announced?
I was wondering how they would actually gonna, put in the MMO factor to it, while still remaining true to Elder Scrolls, lore and game style.
Honestly, yeah, I understand what you're saying, because the Elder Scrolls, it's very much the gameplay of it is a lot different from almost any other RPG, so... And a lot of the factors with an Elder Scrolls game you can't really put with thousands of other people. Like, I'm sure everybody who plays an Elder Scrolls game has made that one character who kills every NPC all over the frickin' map. You do that with all your characters. Don't even raise your hand.
Yeah. I might fall like in one hit a dragon.
Honestly, when ESO was announced, I really didn't want it to happen. Because there's still a lot you can do with this series. You don't have... I feel like they pretty much... Like, they went Ultima with it. Where, oh, this game is so popular, everyone's loving it, let's make it an MMO. Like, I just feel like they were kind of riding that hype train.
Well, here's the thing. With World of Warcraft going downhill like it does, a lot of players kind of have a void in their life. And it's not like they're like ending the storyline, they're just adding on to it with giving us what we always wanted, a multiplayer version of Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. But, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could have gone about making a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game. Let's talk about a lot of the good things about this game. Because that's going to be the shortest segment of this video, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe. Well, what was the first thing that you noticed that you liked?
Aesthetically wise, it looks a lot like Skyrim. Which is kind of saying something about an MMO, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because Warcraft, if you look at the models on Warcraft, everything's really low polygon. And a lot of the textures are flat on it. But that's because it can accommodate a lot of more people.
Yeah, and, with how good the graphics were on it, we were also, running off, the bare minimum.
True.
So they're probably going to be even better.
Another thing that I really liked about this game was the crafting system. Because as much as I rail on Skyrim, the whole, blacksmithing, mini-game portion of it I really did enjoy. Like, finding all this stuff and then, getting to craft any armor or weapon that you like.
Yeah. There's some bad to that kind of stuff, but we'll get that later. Something that I really liked is how you can just, I'm not really sure how to word it, but I lost all train of thought.
Choo-choo! Chugga-chugga-chugga.
Derailed!
No, that wasn't a derailment. That was you losing your train of thought. Millions are dead.
He derailed into the ocean.
Yeah. I really like the things that we actually got to fight. Like, he and me both played Wood Elves, so then we actually got to play together.
Yeah, the Wood Elf was my idea because I wanted to go for a roguelike character. Which that's what I was going to talk about. I like the stealth system.
Yeah, the stealth system, it's just like an Elder Scrolls game, where, like, it'll actually tell you if people can see you or not. And then, of course, if you sneak up on an enemy, you do, like, extra damage.
Mm-hmm. Which was great for me, because I was using a bow most of the game. And then you also have to, take into account for the armor you're wearing, daylight, indoors, shadows. So, and every character can stealth, so it makes things interesting.
And going back to the crafting system, I feel like this is the only game where I've ever actually seen this done. But the concept of, like, getting gear, instead of just selling it for pocket change, you actually, like, destroy the armor or the weapon that you got, and then you get regions to make new stuff. And it also increases your skill when you do that.
Yeah, that was pretty handy. Because it was dropping a lot of gear that we didn't need, because for some reason, our trade system was glitched.
Yeah.
And apparently I'm a werewolf, too.
We'll get to that. I really did like the beginning. I mean, of course, it's an Elder Scrolls game, so you start off in a prison. Except this time, you're in a prison in hell.
God bless hell.
And so pretty much the whole beginning segment is you trying to fight your way out of Cold Harbor, I think is what it was called.
I'm not really sure.
You're trying to fight your way out of Malak Bal's Realm of Oblivion, and then you come across, like, you find this, like, ancient wizard blind dude who pretty much becomes, like, your...
He's like the prophet, isn't he?
His name is Prophet.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much your exposition fairy for the game.
He's a fairy.
Exposition fairy, it's a trope.
I can just now see him with fair wings now, and that's hilarious.
And once again, going back to Warcraft, but I got a really big Medivh vibe coming from this guy.
Oh, yeah. He definitely had, like, a good balance to it, where he seemed like a realistic character in Medieval. Which definitely sets into the...
No, Medivh, the character from Warcraft.
I don't even know who that is.
He opened up the Dark Portal. He was the world's last guardian.
Ah, okay.
You need to play Warcraft 3 one of these days.
I finally have a computer. I've never had a computer as a kid.
And this was really good for me, because I'm one of those nuts who actually reads the books inside of a video game. So, when I come up to this really old, like, prophet dude, he's blind, and then he keeps talking about the Elder Scrolls themselves, I instantly knew that he was going to be a moth priest. And then he mentions that he was raised by moth priests, so that was entertaining to me.
It's the little things that entertains him.
Well, it has to do with lore, and, as a writer, I really like story and lore and all that.
Really? You wrote a book?
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Weird.
You only talk about it every 5 minutes.
Any other things that you really liked about our experience? Because we only really got to play it for 2 days of the 3-day weekend.
Well, I actually like how it's not like the skills you use that levels up. It's whatever's equipped to your hotkey bar.
Yeah.
So it's not based on just attacking, and if someone comes in and steals your kill, you don't get experience. You still get the experience, and it levels up everything. So if something is pointless, like really bad attack, and you never use it in combat, you can still go towards getting the next tier of an epic level attack.
Yeah. Also, another thing, I really like this. But you could go into people's houses and just not as much as like in the Elder Scrolls game where you can't loot everything that's not nailed to the floor. But you could open up baskets and you would get food, or you could open up a dresser and then you steal someone's shirt.
And you also get reagents, and what they added is for the cooking. I didn't really do anything with the cooking, but I kept getting patterns,
Like recipes.
Yeah, recipes. So, you know, it's kind of interesting. I didn't see anything about like an auction house, but I'm sure they're going to have something like that.
Yeah, they're probably going to add something along those lines. But what I was going to say is, like, I would always go up to bookcases, and then when you activate it, like, you'll start reading a book. And then just like in an Elder Scrolls game, when you're done reading the book, it'll tell you, like, skills that have leveled up. Like, even skills
it was doing that randomly for me. I'm like, this is awesome.
Because that's, like, an Elder Scrolls thing, is that, like, you read a book, and then when your skills will go up due to it. And I really like that.
Yeah. Another thing I liked is the guild system.
I never actually did anything with the guild system. You were all about that. Or are you talking about the actual, like, Mages and Fighters guild?
Like, you're creating your own guild.
Okay.
You create your own guild, and you can have pretty much every single one of your alts access that guild. And you can queue up with your guild to go doing PvP. Not that we got a chance to do it, but I was reading up on the different stuff on it, and it looks really promising. It's a good mix between the Retro WoW's guild, where there's like no skills, you just wear a guild to get into a guild, and the over-the-top leveling up guild system that they had in Kata.
I never played Kata, so I'm just going to have to take your word on it.
It was retarded. You had to level up the guild, just giving quests, give a really small amount of experience for the guild. What you're supposed to do is to get raid parties or dungeon groups or battlegrounds that consist of at least 80% of the party being guild members to actually get experience. Well, with me having a smaller guild, it was impossible. And it also ruined the recruitment factor of it, because everyone wanted the guild that's max level to have all the bonuses.
Yeah.
No one wanted to do anything, because this is when WoW was for lazy noobs.
So, that was the good. I think we should start talking about the bad.
Yes, the bad. One thing that I absolutely hated, because I kept getting trapped from it, is that
I have footage of this, so I'm gonna cut the video right here and start showing you guys that.
if you don't have the area fully loaded, there's no hit detection between buildings or, say, a staircase. So you walk into the staircase and it loads and you're trapped. Fun! You know, that's what I wanted, to be trapped in a staircase. I've taken on millions of creatures, killed them all, I get defeated by a staircase, and now it's my tomb.
Yeah, that's one major thing about this game, is that not so much the render distance, but the rendering itself is awful.
We kept falling through a bridge.
Yeah, and we failed a quest because we fell through the bridge.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Other bad is when I was talking about when, you know, we're going through and we're doing, like, the blacksmithing. When you start off, you're limited to actually having your own style, because you can make other, you know, faction style armor.
And I admit that is actually really cool on how, like, because I really like the aesthetics of an MMO. Like, I hate having, like, purple shoulders, green cape, blue shirt. Like, I hate it when you just look ugly just because of the stats. I want things to actually look nice on my character, which you can actually do in this game because you get to have the different styles. So then, like, the sword will have the same stats, but it will just look different depending on what region.
Well, that's the part that I don't like, is it all has the same stats. There's no, like, line going through saying, like, alright, I like heavy armor, I'm gonna get through, you know, this iron so that way I can get to the orc style armor because it has a better defense.
Right.
There's none of that. It's all the same stuff, and you need to have a certain reagent to make it. Like, for the Wood Elves, we needed bone. Which, granted, wasn't, you know, hard to get, but if I want to, you know, level up my blacksmithing and trade and get to a different style armor, I want to have a benefit from it at least.
And also, there really wasn't a benefit to making things, because one, the bones, you don't come across those easily. I mean, you can get them if you disenchant something that's already a Wood Elf style.
Well, you can buy them from the blacksmith, and I kept getting them from chests. Not chests, but dressers.
Right. And, like, okay, you buy a bone for 21 gold, but anything you make out of it isn't going to exceed 10 gold. So you're losing a profit just to get your skill up.
Yeah.
And your skills, they don't level fast. It's not like WoW where you make one orange thing and then your skill goes up. No, you have to make like 100 things in order for you to ding.
Not 100. Like, it has a different, like, you know, chain up. Like, I think I made about 10 items and I got to my tailoring level 2 because I was making medium armor. And you have to get to at least level 5 to actually get another bonus put into it. And on level 5, like, the bonus you get is where you can actually see the herbs from farther away, so it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, later on, like, you know, I was looking to do the different skill lines. They have some really good, like, abilities. Like, one of them is where you have a hireling that you have, you know, going out gathering for you, and he'll bring you stuff daily, so that way you have more materials to make what you want.
Also, that's another reason to keep you coming back to the game. Because every day this dude's giving you shit.
Yeah.
But, one thing I really didn't like about the crafting system is that when you broke something down into, like, it's always random what you get. I mean, not 100% random, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I would keep getting, like, the regions to start making other people's gear before I knew how to make it. I kept on getting, like, the stones to give them special, like, buffs before I was even able to use them.
Well, that's, you know, so you can get the materials, you can put them into your bank, because one thing I did notice, because I was reading up on the stuff about it, I was reading through, like, you know, the different crafting styles, you can access, no matter what bank you put your stuff in, you can access it at the crafting table. So you don't have to run back,
Really?
get the reagents, and come back.
I never knew that. That's actually really interesting. I never knew that.
It definitely comes in useful.
My dumbass kept on running to the bank, grabbing the stuff, then coming back.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of, like, that's maybe the one good thing about the fact that everything doesn't render properly, is that, like, important things will render before everything else, so you see them first, like iron ores or jute.
But the problem with that is, you're running up to it, and they're like, why aren't I moving? And then a giant boulder spawns in front of you, like, that's why.
Yeah.
It also was kind of annoying when I see I was getting attacked, but I couldn't see the enemies.
Also, the first time he and me actually partied up, we couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
I just saw, like, his little arrow thing.
They're like, is that you? Are you fighting something?
And speaking of the party system, I don't know if anyone else has said this before, but it literally feels like there's no reason to be in a party.
Well, you get a 10% experience bonus if you're in a party.
Yeah, but, like, he and me would be just, what we did often is, like, we would be doing quests, and, well, naturally it's an MMO, other people are going to be on the same quest, but...
You don't want to be like go into a dungeon and fight for the loot that you need with another person. Like if you have a different like instant style, where it's exclusive to the individual party, that would be great.
Because there was a party right like in the second island we go to, Ardian or Dian, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, there's a dungeon right over here because it's like a little torch icon on the map. I was like, hey, you want to just go do the dungeon, have some fun? Except when we went to the dungeon, there was like 15 other people there, killing everyone before we even got there.
Well, one thing they did to kind of counteract that, is as long as you get hit onto it, you have a chance to loot it. Everyone has their own loot that they can get. So if we're in a party, it could show loot on his screen but not mine, and then if it shows loot on both of our screens, then we can both loot it and we'd get different materials.
You know, that's something I really didn't like about this game was, like, in Warcraft, if I'm fighting something, on other people's screen, unless we're in a party, their name will be grayed out saying, like, you cannot loot this guy, you will not get experience off of it. But in ESO, anyone can attack anything, anyone can get experience off anything, anyone can loot anything.
Yeah, and then yet you still have to fight people to lockpick a chest.
Yeah, like, every chest we came across was freaking locked.
Yeah, and then you have to fight with other people to see the first person to click on it to get the first chance of trying to loot it.
Which, The lockpicking style, someone, I think it was you, said that it was like the Oblivion lockpicking style. Except,
Where you have to go through the tumblers.
well, yeah, you go through the tumblers, but like the lockpicking minigame in and of itself felt really different from how Oblivion did.
Well, I said that like it has like the same like anesthetic value and like base principles of going down the tumblers. But what you have to do is you have to push on the tumbler to when it starts to shake, and then you release. And they put a time limit on it.
The time limit just felt stupid to me, honestly.
Yeah, because you feel rushed and you make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Like, this is just me being one of those guys who role plays, but if, like, a thief is trying to, like, pick a lock, you don't want to rush him, like, go, 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 come on, do it. It's not like D&D where I roll a dice, did I pick it or not? It's, you gotta literally focus to try to do this thing.
And you can't even level up your lockpicking skill. You just have to like have the manned skill to lock it, so that it tells you the different difficulties at the chest. But it'll just make it harder unless you actually get the in-time skill to lock the chest. You won't know what to do.
Especially because, like, right outside the, like, starting town, Canarthy's Roost. Well, I think Canarthy's Roost is the island, but right outside, like, the starting town, there's, like, a fucking master-level chest. Which, of course, me and everyone and their dog tried to lockpick. Because it's the first chest you see, you gotta loot it.
Yeah. Which they did have some good loot in the chest from the few I did pick. Like, I got some soul gems and some good gear out of it, but that's also something I noticed I don't like. It's really hard to get soul gems, and they have a different use for the soul gems in this one. Soul gems is where you can respawn on the spot without having to go to the town and walk back, or you can resurrect your allies.
Which, admittedly, I did think was a good idea in an MMO setting. And, of course, you can also use the soul gems to re-enchant your weapons if they're out of charges.
Yeah.
Which is from the games, of course.
But if they're going to have this big of a use on the soul gems, you'd think they'd have, like, a merchant that sells them?
Well, there are merchants that sell them. At least there was in the Verkle Guard town. I don't know if there was one in Mistral.
There wasn't one in Mistral. I was
wasn't?
looking all over.
Mm. Well, most of the game you played, you were in Mistral.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is just kind of like a story element. It has no effect on the game whatsoever, but what was the first, like, primary thing that we fought? Like,
Primary?
well, I mean, like, the biggest monster we fought, like, coming out of the gate in this game.
The biggest would probably be the Elite or the Thunderbug.
Yeah, the Elite. Okay, what was the last game Elites were in?
Can't remember.
Morrowind.
Morrowind.
Okay. In Canarthy's Roost, there's a quest for you to save the tree from being eaten by Kwama. What was the last game Kwama were in?
I didn't even get to that quest.
It was from Morrowind. Now, the reason why I'm complaining about this, also, one of the herbs that you're able to pick up for alchemy is the Luminous Rusla, which is a mushroom, which was from Morrowind. Now, I ask you this. Like, all this wildlife, it's from Morrowind, except that Canarthy's Roost is an island, like a Somerset Island, off the coast of Elsewhere. In other words, the completely other side of Tamriel.
Yeah. Well, they probably need to have some, like, lower level stuff, and they probably want to have some sort of variety.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that should be things that you'd be seeing, like, in the Dark Elf starting place, or wherever the Daggerfall Covenant starts. Wait, not Dagger... The Ebonheart contract. I just derped there. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, everyone knows in WoW you have the Horde and the Alliance. The Horde and the Alliance have their different races, and then back in vanilla they had, like, their own separate classes. Like, so, in this game there's 3 different, like, factions. There's, what we were doing, we were the Aldmeri Dominion. There's the Daggerfall Covenant and the Ebonheart contract.
Yeah. You have 3 different races you can play from those 3 different governments.
Right. Which is why I decided to play a Wood Elf, we would be in the same, group together, or faction together.
Yeah.
Which, admittedly, that'll probably make PvP a lot more hectic when you have two different sides attacking you instead of just, in WoW, there's one.
Well, I was looking up, videos online of the different, the PvP style. It's an enormous map. And in the three corner, there's the one on the bottom, there's one on the side, and then one on the other side.
It's pretty much
and then a neutral place in the middle. Well, what you do is you fight through to the middle, and then you branch off to whatever side you want to. But I believe it was 2,000 max players that can be in the battleground at once. So there's a lot of people and a lot of different branched off, battles going on. So you really have to either have a lot of players to play with, or really try to communicate with these guys that want to do whatever they want.
You ever try to do frickin' Arathi Basin, trying to, herd these guys around, go here, go here. No, why are you defending there? We have to get this. Yeah, try doing that with 2,000 frickin' people.
See, this kind of, reminds me of, an element that MMOs don't really go into, but there's this game that I have, Chrome Hounds, that was for 360. It was a really old game. They have a specific class in there, it's called Commander. What their job is they can see the different stuff on the map, they can see the enemies, see themselves, and they tell each different ally where to go, and for a strategic value. If you have one guy that that queues up to be the commander, then he'd provide more intel, and then people actually have an obligation because he has intel that no one else has, so that way he can kind of route people to actually do coordinated attacks instead of, I'm going to go assault this base all by my own.
That's just like in Dungeons & Dragons. There's a prestige class called the Warlord who pretty much, he doesn't fight himself, but he gives buff by telling people what to do.
I just think that's, an element that MMOs kind of look over, is that every army always has commanders that tell people, that gives orders and, that they're supposed to follow.
And in my opinion, it feels like ESO, they're focusing a lot on the PvP aspect of the game.
Well, it is a major war in the timeline.
Well, yeah, but at the same time in Warcraft, there's wars going on everywhere.
True. Well, I think they just wanted to have, a giant battle, Guild Wars style battles.
Yeah.
And that's only because apparently there's different storylines for the PvP. There's probably going to be different ones that are smaller battles or just have different objectives or anything like that.
Just like in Warcraft, where there would be what they called outdoor PvP.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I feel like that's the reason why they're pushing this, mega server that they've created. That's why they're doing all these stress tests and not bug tests. Is because let's see how many people we can get on this uber mega server we have. Come on. Instead of doing it like Warcraft, where there's individual little servers that you can join. Because the saturation of people in this game, even just for our 1/3 starting place, was ridiculous. I mean, I'm not complaining, it's an MMO, of course you're going to see other people. But this was just ridiculous.
Well, it's a beta that's just starting off. So it was a 3-day beta, so a lot of people, couldn't get on the first day. We didn't be able to get on the first day. We were on the second day.
Yeah, but imagine what it's going to look like retail. Not everyone got into the beta.
Yeah.
Technically, I didn't even get into the beta. You invited my ass.
True. But
so
when it does come out,
sure
it's going to be, saturated towards the beginning. But when characters get higher level up, and not everyone is going to be in the starter area, they're going to branch off. It's not going to be as saturated.
Yeah, but at the same time, in Warcraft, when you're starting off, of course you're going to see a lot of other people in the starting zones. But first off, there's 3 different startings. Well, technically 4 for the Alliance and Horde. Whereas in this game, there's only 1 for each faction. I feel like if they spread it out a bit more, it would be a lot better.
Well, no, there's not 1 for each faction. There's 1 for each race.
But there was Khajiit and High Elves, where we were.
Yeah, well, that's also how we, as low levels, walked to the Khajiit area. That was the major town that we were in. That was a Khajiit town.
Yeah, Mistral.
So, you can walk to other places, but, they just wanted to, party up with their friends, or they just got done with their quest in the area and moved on, or they just wanted to try a different quest area. Which I'm not sure how the different factions areas go, because I know that you have to finish through the kind of the storyline to actually go to.
Yeah, you have
the
to
different
go through
factions.
Cold Harbor before you actually go to your proper starting place.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have us being Wood Elves in the Aldari Dominion, we don't have access to the Direfall Covenant.
Well, yeah.
But when we finish through our single player storyline, then we can go there. What I'm wondering is what it's what's the point of actually going there? Is it just to have more PvP, or if we get their quests, or what?
It would pretty much just be like if you were a night elf and you went to Durotar. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
But if they also put a restriction on it that big, they might also have where you only load up your characters, all the other player characters in their immediate area. So that way you're not trying, if it's instead of it being, because yes, it's a mega server, but there could be different little instances going through it. It won't be as saturated and hard on your computer trying to load up everything at once. It'll just load everything up with crisper, leave your crisper graphics because you're only loading up your generic area in your Dominion.
Yeah. Is that pretty much all the bad section that we can talk about?
Does the werewolf involve the bad?
Nope.
That's ugly.
That's ugly.
We're moving on to the ugly. See, this is this kind of stuff that is so what the fuck that can only be defined as ugly.
And can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, and it's not just us coming across these issues right now, because other people in the general chat were talking about it. And someone mentioned in the general chat, oh, it just needs polish. Oblivion needed polish. Skyrim needed polish. This thing needs coarse grade sandpaper before it's sent out for retail.
The first major issue was
the fucking 30-minute loading.
Yeah.
To get into the game for the first time. Which, by the way, I have recorded. Because I didn't know it would take that long.
So, yeah. And, he actually has good internet. I was sitting at the McDonald's, getting myself a sandwich, trying to do this. It took me even longer. Fun.
I went out and walked my dog, came back, and it was done. After staring at it for 30 minutes.
So, yeah. Well, everyone's always wondering, these good games, blah, blah, blah. Kids are never going to know loading screens. Buy your kid this game. He will know your pain.
Dude, when I was 5 minutes into the loading screen, I texted you and said, dude, I'm starting to get Morrowind on the Xbox flashbacks.
Yeah.
No, it was worse. Damn.
And the sad thing is, that's not even loading up the game. That's to load up your character creation screen. Yeah. So after you get done with all of that, then you have a nice little, probably 8-minute load screen to actually load up the world.
Yeah.
Granted, after we have our characters made and we went into the game and loaded up after that, it was a lot faster, but initially, you just want to play the damn game. And it's teasing you.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, the beta was free. Unless you paid off Bethesda to get into it.
No, pretty much it was just sign up and you get into it.
But, if you have a 30-minute load time and you bought that thing for $60, or whatever the retail price is going to go for, no. Another thing is that the texture pop-in was everywhere. Like, I would be seeing other people walking around just wearing, like, flab, like, cardboard stuff, but I'd have to stare at them for a minute before the texture actually came on to see what they were wearing.
Well, that might also just been, graphics card or not enough RAM.
No, that was the game, because texture popping was everywhere.
Well, here's the thing. I've seen the videos of the people online that they, have gaming computers, and they had no problem, no rendering issues, no texture issues.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to have a good computer to play this game.
Pretty much.
But
Like,
one of my major issues was the game purely itself. I'm pretty sure it's just because it was a beta and they had some, errors in the script, but it was annoying. I couldn't fish. Do you know why I couldn't fish? Apparently I was in werewolf form. That is what the game told me.
You cannot fish while in werewolf form.
Yeah, so, everyone that's complaining, oh, they're not releasing anything about the werewolves, there you go, your first bit of information. You cannot fish in werewolf form.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Not to mention a lot of the quests were bugged. Like, you either couldn't finish a quest, or you had to, like, do a shoot in the dark in order to figure out where you're supposed to go for a quest. Like, one of the ones where we were in a party for, we were supposed to follow this one NPC, and they were going to leave a trail for us to follow them. They disappeared 5 feet in the distance.
So we had to run through and walk into the different, places in the town to try to find out where we need to go. Eventually we found it, but it would be a lot easier if we could just follow the lady to get there.
And one quest I was doing, like, it was a burning city, and then you had to save all the people.
Oh yeah, I did that one too.
On my screen, no fire. On my screen, no NPCs to save.
Yeah.
Also, one thing Warcraft does is when you get a quest and you're off to fight a boss and you know that, and the game knows that you're not ready to fight this boss, it'll have a thing in brackets that says group. Or, hey, you might want to bring friends along for this quest.
This gives you no warning.
Yeah, I was trying to take down a boss, he kicked my ass. And the worst thing, it said he was level 8. Bullshit, he was level 8. I can take down a level 8 easy. It was Crystal Shard, Lightning, Crystal Shard, Stab. Level 8 was dead. This guy, no. And it's not like Warcraft where if you're fighting an elite or someone who it says that they're level 8 but their stats say that they aren't, it'll have a golden dragon next to their name saying, this guy, you might want to bring friends along to take this guy down.
Because he's a heavy hitter. And he ate his vegetables. He ate his Wheaties. But no warning. Just this guy, you just walk up to this guy's like, oh, I can take him. I take his kind all the time. And he one-hits you.
Also, one thing I noticed with the quest, apparently someone at Bethesda he doesn't like women. Because when you're in Cold Harbor, to get the Prophet out of his cell, the lady you're with has to has to go into the cell herself to take his place.
Well, you can actually choose who to take.
No, this is in Cold Harbor. Like, later on, there's another quest where you have to save, like, a wise old wizard dude. And then the lady, like, gives you the option of who do you save, the lady or the wizard.
Yeah.
Though, okay, I can compliment this game on this. Instead, like, in Warcraft, you'll usually have, like, your one set you'll have your one set town in the zone. And there will be, like, all these guys with, like, exclamation points above their heads, and, like, you go talking to all of them. And then their quest will send you all around the zone.
Yeah.
But in this game, if you look on the map, like, with Skyrim and Oblivion, there will always be an icon to show you, like, where towns are, where caves are. In ESO, every cave, every town, every little, like, object on your map will have a quest associated with it. Because when you hover your mouse over a place you've already been, it'll have like a little thing like, oh, you saved this farm from the rats. Or you took down the pirates in this area. That I kind of liked.
So you actually have a sense of accomplishment.
Which, by the way, I've never heard of the Mormor before.
Mormor?
Yeah, the sea pirates were fighting the Vipers.
Oh.
I've never heard of the Sea Elves in Elder Scrolls lore before.
And you actually religiously play the Elder Scrolls games, and I don't.
I know. I played I played Redguard, for God's sake. Don't play Redguard.
Don't play Redguard.
Don't play Redguard. It's not good.
Yeah. So yeah, those are our thoughts on the game so far.
Yeah, I thought this video was going to be a lot longer. I still got beer left.
Well, yeah.
Final thoughts, I guess?
Final thoughts? Well, my final thoughts is, from what I've seen, there's a lot of potential. They just have to get the bugs out of it. Hopefully by the release date, because the release date's next month?
Next month.
Next month.
That's the part that scares me.
Well, usually with the beta, they only have set things set in there while they have more finished with it. They just...
This is the scary part, okay? We played the beta. Everything we played, that was alpha. This is not beta ready. This is...
Yeah. What I'll probably end up doing, I'll get the game so that way, because my name that I always put on my character, Zioxx, was taken.
Apparently.
One of you bastards out there took my name. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pre-order it, get access 5 days early, as soon as that comes out, because guess what? I work nights. I will get that thing at midnight. And you know what? A minute after it gets done downloading, my name's going to be taken. And I will let it sit there just so you guys can't have it while they get through all the different patches, all the bug fixes, and then I'll play my game.
In all honesty, when the game comes out for retail, I'll probably play it for a month and give it like a good, honest feel. But right now, like playing the beta just left a bad taste in my mouth. And it's not the beer, by the way. This actually isn't that bad. But there would be points where I'm playing ESO where I just wanted to stop playing. That's not a good... Like, when I was playing Warcraft as a kid, or now... Like, I don't... Like, when I stop playing, I'm like, holy crap, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I should get to bed. That's the reason why I stopped playing. This game, I stopped playing because I was just done. And that's not good for an MMO, which is supposed to, like, hold on to your attention.
Yeah. So hopefully Bethesda gets their shit together by the release date.
High hopes, low expectations.
Well, the good thing about low expectations is hopefully you're not let down. Because if you have low expectations and you're let down, then just damn.
Skyrim let me down. So I'm using that as kind of like a medium right now. Well, all in all, if there's one thing to take away from ESO, it's better than EverQuest. Signing off, guys.